who I bring him as my bar person. He's also my master of ceremonies as well. I just want to say a few things, and I'm told I have to keep this very short. I'm not very good at that, so you can heckle, it's all right. I wanted to start off with the thank yous. Thank you all for coming. It's really a little bit overwhelming, and but lovely at the same time. I want to say particular thanks to Nikki, who has been the star of the last few weeks. She has managed to tell me to mind my own business on a few occasions, but at the same time these emails flying all over the place saying X needs to do that or Y needs to happen. So it's a very, very big and special thank you to her. Christina also has helped with some of the logistics and the people. And
well, thank you that you're here.
But also, I wanted to slip off into the sunset and sort of not do anything. She said, "You must be joking," and basically put me in my place. But she's been doing that since I started in Islington. And nothing changes. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you in the room have been bossed by Christina from time to time, but we love her for it. Also, for the last few weeks, I have been on so many lunches. And bearing in mind that I am part of the Waist Watchers Club, who get the scales and need to bear away and embarrass myself from time to time as well, going on all these lunches has not been very good for the waistline. And obviously Tom has sorted out booze, and he's driven up today with stuff and just done everything I've asked as usual. And that that sounds awful. He calls me in like the bad moments. He calls me General Janet, or suggestions that maybe we wouldn't like to do this route march, and which road am I meant to be on anyway? Where am I on the map? But he's been up with me since 1972, so probably not going to change much. I wanted to use the opportunity just to take a very, very quick look back at my past. One, because it's my retirement thing, but also because all the things that I did in the past in some way connect to Islington and have brought everything together. And also there's some messages in there as well. I've worked all my life in central London. I didn't ever intend that, but that's how it's worked out. I started off in 1967 as a shorthand typist in the mail order room of Vaughan Hollingsworth, which was a department store in Oxford Street. That's right. Yeah, in the olden days. And you could get sacked for wearing false eyelashes. You could get sacked if your skirt was not well below the knee. And it was quite archaic, so things have changed. But the message there is that if you show enthusiasm and you work hard, you get on. And I have had a very lucky route, and perhaps a reasonably determined route of climbing a bit of the pole and sort of going upwards. After that, I thought I should study a bit, because I hadn't done much. And I worked all the time that I was a student, and I worked in St Pancras Chambers. I worked for British Transport Hotels every holiday I had. I worked in everything from sort of finance to hotel refurbishment, and every time I had a holiday they just said we'll find you a job. So when it came to do stuff at King's Cross with the LDA, I knew a lot about the area already and knew quite a lot about Camden as well. From that I went into the worst job of my life, which was personnel management. We sort of pass over that. I was working for William Hill for a while, and then a firm called Shepherd Foods, and they had small stores in town centres, and actually it was a really good experience, even though I didn't enjoy it. From that, the best thing ever, I went and worked for the Inner London Education Authority, and they trained me to be a careers officer. And I'm convinced that my management style and communication, it's because I've been trained as a careers officer, and they put me through a 15-month training course, and it was the best thing I ever did. I worked after that in what was Division 4 Hackney, but I was based in Bunhill Row. There was an old college building there, and the careers office was on the ground floor. You probably remember it, Joe. And so I worked from there, and my industrial plot, you used to have a geographical area, and my plot was called Moorgate, which took in all of the Bunhill ward. So I had all the businesses in that ward were mine to get vacancies for the careers service. I had so many apprenticeships, things like motor mechanics from BT, a firm called CJ Bartley in Old Street. I used to take 10 electrical apprentices a year. So what we're going through now with this coming round of apprenticeships is exactly what we were doing in the 70s. And it's taken us a long while to actually get back to it. But it's what works. After that, I went down to Docklands, first of all sent down by Ilya, because they had all these new projects there and no one was getting advice before they were going on to courses. So I was sort of hauled in. Eventually I then worked for the voluntary sector there and then went to work for the London Docklands Development Corporation, where Eric, over there, was the chief executive. So he taught me a few things and told me when I got a few things wrong as well. That was my intro into working with developers and sites and construction training. My only other claim to fame, for someone who is terribly afraid of heights, they took me up Canary Wharf Tower and the builder's hoist on the outside. Did you ever do it?
I did, yeah. It's hilarious and funny.
I don't quite think hilarious is the word. Just, I must say, when you get to the top of the tower is narrower than the rest of the tower, and there's this wooden planking, with planking on either side, that you have to walk across, because the crane is sort of attached to the top. We won't talk about that because I won't get feet. Then quickly after that, I came to Islington. So I knew a lot about Islington beforehand because Tom had been working here and I had been volunteering in Islington before I was ever employed by the council. You may not know that once Islington put me in charge of their table tennis team. I had to get them in one piece from a sports centre down in the Islington Council. They did pretty well. I also worked as a coach marshal for the mini marathon. Did that for about 8 years, which meant leaving Islington really early morning with 3 coaches of young children who were going to run from the tower to the end of the marathon route. It's an absolutely wonderful experience where they get to feel part of this really big part. We only lost 1 child. Tesco plastic glasses get hot when you hold them and the bottles fire off. Anyway, let's move on. So we only lost 1 child. We found the child eventually because they decided to go off and watch the marathon but not telling anyone. Well, we did find them, but you know, parts of it. Now, Islington. I've been here 17 years. I didn't think when I came here that I would be here for that long because, you know, 5-6 years would be my normal stint. But it's just been such an interesting and creative place to work. And it's all of the people, from the residents to the colleagues I've worked with, to the politicians I've worked with, about wanting to do something that made a difference. And there's always been something to find to do that's been meaningful. And also, it's a place where it's got quite a bit of humour. You know, we seem to be able to be in this area quite realistic about what we do, so that we can actually achieve things. And the staff who are here, I've sent messages around as well, but they really do. You do all deliver really good services for residents, whether it be skills or business liaison or helping people get jobs. Or working with parents who've got multiple sort of things going on in their life. And, you know, it does work so long, and I do hope it all continues, and with a bit of humour. I think we've also brought in a lot of money. We're good at showing people we can do things and bringing resources in, and at times when obviously money is short, then we need to sort of be doing that all the more. I think we also have good, really excellent working relationships with the Voluntary and Community Centre, and lots of joint working. I'll just cite one thing. I think that Future Jobs Fund was probably one of the best things we did a couple of years ago, and if only we could do that sort of thing again. I also mentioned to Councillor West earlier that I think in Islington we have different relationships with our members, whatever party they're from, than perhaps in other. When I talk to other colleagues in other boroughs, they don't have the sort of dialogues we have, and I think it is a professional one where we respect, and officers are officers and members are members, and we understand where the decision making does sort of trickle down from. So I would commend everyone for that. And what did I think about the area? Well, the view from Dartmouth Park Hill is the place I always take new people. You go up there, you see the whole of the borough, right away across to Camden, the West End, the city, across to the east, and you can get just a feeling about how long and thin the borough is. I think it's got wonderful architecture, shopping up the street. One of the benefits of working in Finsbury Park... Oh, I know. One of the benefits of... Joyce shoots me. I do shop occasionally. It depends what I'm buying. But I'm eating. I actually eat more in there, so probably than I do. Yeah. So it's been wonderful, and I think 17 years. I wouldn't have stayed if it wasn't what it is. So I thank you all for being such a nice place to work and nice people to work with. The future. I've bored everyone with this. I got an allotment last year, and the things I've grown, you've heard about it. And April and May are the busiest months. So for the next 2 months, I should probably have a bit of a sore back, a sore feet. But I'm going to do lots of travel and holidays. I want to do more walking. I need to get rid of the waistline. Craft stuff and preserves, and I might do a bit of volunteering as well, to give something sort of back, even if it might be sort of helping children read in schools would be something I would consider doing. And I've got a part-time job, much to some of my family's, what the hell are you doing, girl? It was there, and I thought I needed a stepping stone from working here to that. And I'm going to be doing market research at Stansted Airport. So even when you go on a flight, this woman in a uniform struts up and asks you how you found your travel plan. So if it doesn't work out, I can just give it up. But I thought it was something different, and they've agreed to employ me. So that's that. So it all looks good, and just thank you all again. Please continue drinking and eating. I don't want to carry anything home. And thank you.
What is so remarkable about Janet? I think everybody in this room would say it's her energy. Her energy is not only inspirational, it's extraordinary. Janet was always the first to come to work in the morning and the last to leave. And I think some of this is to do with her farming background. I think many people know she was the daughter of a farmer.
It's true.
And she was late to leave because of her dedication to her work and to Islington Council. And over the last 17 years, she has raised millions of pounds. And we are very indebted to her. And her staff have been very inspired by that. It's not only her ability to cut through red tape, it is that she's one of the rarest of the rare. She is one of those managers who creates a great sense of loyalty and is very supportive and is also very inspiring. Her open door policy even extended to those of you who remember Steve Mason, his dog Atta. Atta was always by Janet's feet. Her open door policy is truly that. She was always available, and her approach always inspired the trust and loyalty that we feel for the many years so many of us have worked with her. Because we trust Janet, her staff were able to take, I need to put this quite carefully, we're able to be more brave than in other local authorities. She was always very supportive, and I think that we did projects probably other authorities wouldn't have encouraged and wouldn't have done. Her work with the private sector has paved the way for the huge business engagement we now have and for the investment we now have in Islington. And many of us here today would not be here without Janet, and we wouldn't be doing the work we do without Janet, which reflects so well on Islington Council. She truly is a brilliant manager. I think I've made that point. But now, of course, her family are going to have a bit of her time. Helen and Hannah, her two wonderful daughters, I'm sure will be very delighted to actually have access to you, Janet, and actually be able to see you a bit more. And I think Tom will also appreciate being with her. As we all know, Tom is the husband I would like to have had, but he chose Janet. We were always envious of Tom and Janet's trips all over Europe. But particularly to France, where they came back with lots of wine, which many of us in this room have benefited from, with a wonderful, seamless hospitality you have in Saffron Walden. Anyway, Islington's loss is Stansted's game. And despite any problems that may occur, and we're all aware of that with reality TV around airports, Janet will always be there, unruffled, and will find a solution in her usual elegant way. So Janet, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will miss you very much. And I believe that Nikki has a book here that she'd like to present you with, which is full of mementos of your time in Islington.
Thank you.
Over there, and I'll put it on that table there, and you can have your monocopy.
Which room is this photograph taken?
Is it G16?
I started on room G03 at the town hall. That's where I started off. Thank you very much indeed. If I've forgotten to mention anyone, I do apologise, these things like that. I'm going to have such enjoyment going through this. I have come up to people over the last few weeks, and all of a sudden they've hidden something underneath it, or they've been looking at the computer and the screen's been smashed around. So thank you all of you who've helped put this together, and I'm sure there are a few embarrassing moments within it somewhere. Maybe not, you never know. So thank you again.
Thank you. We cheers to Janet.
Cheers.
Well done, Christian.